Now let's begin with the section 2. Now we formally talk about two most fundamental and important trigonometric functions. 5.2, the sine and cosine functions. First, let's begin with an angle in the standard position. That is the angle with the vertex at the origin and the initial side at the positive x-axis, right? And we also have a unit circle centered at the origin. Okay. So now, in this rectangular plane, the terminal side of this angle intersects this unit circle at the point with the coordinates x, y. Then we just define the sine of alpha to be the y coordinate of the point of intersection, and the cosine of alpha to be the x coordinate of the point of intersection. You write this here. So we have the point of the intersection of this terminal side of this angle with the unit circle, which is the x and y. And then with this angle alpha, we can define its sine value and the cosine value. Cosine of alpha is equal to the x coordinate of the point of intersection of this terminal side with the unit circle. And sine alpha is equal to the y coordinate of the point of intersection of this terminal side with the unit circle. So now we know on this unit circle, since this point is one point on the unit circle, so it must satisfy the equation of unit circle, right? We know the equation of the unit circle with the center at the origin is x squared plus y squared equal to 1, right? And also from this graph, you know both x and y must be between the -1 and 1, right? For example, the x coordinate at the most it can be the 1, or at the least it must be the -1. So both x and y, see here y below the 1 and above the -1, right? So both x and y between the -1 and the 1. Okay. Then this just implies the range of the sine and cosine functions is the closed interval from -1 and 1. What is the range of function? Just to remember the definition of the range of function. You know, the range of a function is the set of the all possible function values that this function can take, right? Right now, this cosine and this sine can take any values between the -1 and the 1. So the range of sine and cosine is equal to the closed interval from -1 to 1. Now, how about the domain? What is the domain of the cosine and the sine? We know the domain is the set of the inputs that this function can take, right? So that is all possible values of alpha. Right now, this alpha can be any real numbers. If you rotate this terminal side counterclockwise, you get a positive value. If you rotate this terminal side clockwise, you get negative value. And you can also get a zero reading measure, right? So alpha can take any real number. So that means for cosine and sine, their domain is the set of all real numbers. So now we get the domain of sine and cosine is equal to the set of all real numbers. We use this black bold R to denote the set of all real numbers. Okay. Now, after we define the sine and the cosine functions, let's see the sign, S-I-G-N, of the sine and the cosine function in these 4 quadrants. Now tell me, in the quadrant 1, what is the sign of the sine and cosine? What is sign of x and y in the quadrant 1? Positive, right? So in the quadrant 1, your sine and cosine must be greater than 0. Okay, so let me use another color. So you have the sine alpha bigger than 0, cosine alpha bigger than 0 in the quadrant 1. Now in the quadrant 2, what is the sign of the sine alpha? Positive or negative? Positive, right? Because the quadrant 2 is above the x-axis. So the y value is positive. So we still have the sine alpha bigger than 0. How about the cosine alpha? Negative, right? Is the left of the y-axis. So to the left of the y-axis, the x-coordinate is negative. So we have the cosine alpha less than 0. Now in the quadrant 3, what is sign of the sine and the cosine? Both are negative, right? So right now, both the x and the y coordinates are negative in quadrant 3. So you have the sine alpha less than 0, cosine alpha less than 0. Now in the quadrant 4, what is the sign of the sine alpha? Sine alpha, positive or negative? Negative, right? Because it's below the x-axis. In the quadrant 4, the y-coordinate is negative. So the sine alpha, which is defined as the y-coordinate of the point of intersection, must be less than 0. And how about the cosine alpha? Positive, right? In the quadrant 4, the x-coordinate is positive. So cosine alpha is positive. Any question?